Welcome to our presentation. It's called How to Reduce the Cost of College with the North Carolina Community College System. We're really excited to have an excellent panel tonight to talk to everyone about the community colleges and the programs that they offer and all the unique things about these schools across the state. This is a list of our presenters. We have a good number of folks joining us, and as everyone goes through and offers their bit of information, they'll stop and introduce themselves. So as I said, feel free to pop questions over in the chat box. Also, this presentation is being recorded, and we will offer the recording of it within a week or so. We'll register. We'll email it out to everyone who is registered. So thank you so much. I think we'll jump in and begin. And again, we just really appreciate our speakers tonight. We've got speakers from Blue Ridge Community College, Wake Tech Community College, Wayne Community College, Cape Fear Community College, and then a few of us from College Foundation of North Carolina. So we have a lot of topics that we're going to cover this evening. So we're going to start with talking about articulation agreements and co-admission agreements with the community colleges and our four-year institutions, as well as dual enrollment. And then we're going to talk a little bit about transferring. So that's kind of our first chunk of our presentation, and that will include some information about careers and majors. And then we're going to move on and talk a little bit about different satellite campuses. We're going to talk about testing, certificate and apprenticeship programs. We're going to talk about athletics, clubs, housing, as well as some information on scholarships and financial aid. So I think you'll find that we have a lot to offer you all this evening. And if for some reason you've got some questions, just let us know. So let's start by just talking about College Foundation of North Carolina. So CFNC is a free service at the state of North Carolina, and it's a collaboration between several different organizations. A lot of families and students know us as CFNC.org. It's a website that's free for students to do all of their college and career planning. And if you haven't been on CFNC recently, I encourage you to take a look. In the fall, our website was completely redone. And we have some wonderful new tools. We have a dashboard where you can keep track of all of the careers that you're looking at, the colleges you're looking at, save them, research the careers that they offer, majors they offer at their institution, how it correlates to a career. You can also apply to those institutions, as well as all four of the community colleges that are on tonight. You can apply easily to through CFNC, as well as send your high school transcript. You'll also find other things on CFNC, such as a scholarship search tool. So if you're still in that area and you're looking for scholarships, I encourage you to take a look. We have other financial aid resources, calculators, and tools. And you'll also use CFNC to complete RDS, which is your residency certification. And so we encourage you to go take a look and try to remember that username and password. This is just a quick snapshot of what our website looks like now. We still have all of the main tabs at the top: planning, applying, and paying for college, and then up here is where you're able to log in. So like I said before, take a look, especially after tonight as we go through and provide you with all of this information. You may find some of your questions answered on CFNC as well as you think through this process. So let's talk a little bit about articulation agreements and co-admission, okay? So again, if you haven't checked out CFNC lately, about a month ago, we went live with a new campaign called Take Your Dreams Off Hold. And this was really important to us because we are very aware, since we work so closely with our high schools across the state, that a lot of our students have obviously struggled this past year. There have been competing priorities in our household. Students have had parents that are sick that have come down with COVID. Students are having to work more. And so there's all of these different things going on top of the stress of everything that's been happening. And we know that students have gotten understandably distracted with all of these different things. And so what we want to do is provide some information to students as you think about what next fall is going to look like. It's hard to envision it. It's hard for all of us, including me, to envision it still, but there is life after COVID. And so we want our students, especially our students, you guys have been working so hard and planning and getting ready for your next step after high school, and we want you to continue to do so. And so our campaign is called Take Your Dreams Off Hold. And this is why, the reason I'm mentioning it is this is where you're going to find a good bit of information on guaranteed admissions and co-admissions and articulation agreement. So go on to CFNC on our homepage right now. You're going to see a link to the campaign with this image here with the students with the different colorful backgrounds. And if you click on the student section, you're going to find information on what we're talking about in these next couple of slides, okay? So the difference between articulation agreements and co-admission. So these co-admission programs, essentially, they include all of these different programs that start at your local community college. So it tends to be college specific. So it starts at your local community college and it has you move to a four-year school based on the program. And they're connected. They have lots of different partnerships. They have lots of different ways that you are able to get assistance in your specific program, moving from your community college to the four-year institution. So as you're thinking about what your plans are for the fall, we want you to consider all of the different options that you have with our wonderful community colleges. So all of our careers, any career you can think of requires a different amount of training, right? You've got to learn how to become someone who can do that career. And some of those careers require 1 year of training, 1 year of education, 2 years, 4 years, 7 years, 8 years, and so on. And so some of you are thinking about a program that's going to start at your community college and end at your community college, and that's where you're going to live, and that's going to be awesome. And then some of you are thinking about programs that are going to have you start at a community college, and then you're going to end up, graduating from a four-year institution. And so you have these articulation agreements and you have the co-admissions. And just remember the co-admission programs are very specific to your local community college and a four-year institution. So they have a plan together, and it's very specific to what you're going to major in. So definitely take a look and ask questions. And in addition to that, we have our statewide articulation agreement. And so what that statewide articulation agreement does is it says that students that are starting at a community college should essentially have a seamless transfer to a four-year institution. You have to meet certain academic requirements. Typically, it involves a base level GPA, okay, to even apply to the four-year schools. Some of the transfer programs are pretty competitive. So you're going to want to ask questions and stay involved. So it allows students to start at a community college, the one in your backyard, the one across the state, wherever you want to go, and then look at all of our different public four-year institutions across North Carolina and some of our private schools to see where you can transfer. They aren't specific to a major. It just is this awesome agreement that we have to make sure that students have a relatively seamless transfer program process into our four-year institutions. And a really important tip with the transferring is make sure that you're communicating with your community college, with your advisor, with whoever it is you're working with at your community college as you're registering for classes. Make sure you're being, honest and communicate, what your plans are, because, there's a difference between being an associate's program and being in a transfer program. We want to make sure that you're taking all of the classes that are going to transfer really kind of seamlessly. All right. So I have a slide up here that says traditional transfer. And I think a lot of students are pretty familiar with the transfer process. But like I said, just make sure you're communicating and following whatever steps you need to do that. A lot of students transfer, a whole lot of students. There's a whole lot of wonderful reasons to start at a community college, as you're going to hear tonight. The programs that they have, the awesome classes, the student organizations, the price tag. And so that kind of leads us to what, we had said that the name of the title was, right? How to save money with our community college system. So if you have any questions about transferring and co-admissions, let us know. I'm going to pass the baton over to my colleague, Soretta Broadway, and she's going to talk to you all about dual enrollment.
I'd like to say good evening to everyone and to thank you again for attending this wonderful webinar. As Dr. Query has stated, I am Soretta Broadway. I am the CFNC regional representative for the 919 region. And basically what that means is I cover 9 counties across the state of North Carolina. Far west is Chatham County and far east is Wayne County. So yes, I want to talk to you about this wonderful program, Dual Enrollment, the Career and College Promise, which is for qualified North Carolina high school age students. They can begin their 2 or 4 year college work tuition free while they are actually in high school. North Carolina Career and College Promise is a dual enrollment program designed to provide eligible North Carolina high school students an opportunity to earn college credit while still in high school, while still in secondary school. Again, I want to emphasize tuition free. That's a big deal this day and time. And of course, for further information, please review the North Carolina Community College System Career and College Promise operating procedures. However, next slide, I want to talk about some of the goals that you want to make sure you have already decided upon while thinking about enrolling in this wonderful program. Consider your goals for dual enrollment through the Career and College Promise. So you definitely want to consult with your high school counselor and select one of these pathways. The college transfer pathways is for students who are planning to continue their education beyond high school to achieve an associate's or bachelor's degree at a community college or university. You also have the career and technical education pathway, and that particular one is for students who are going to begin a certification or diploma program in a particular technical field or career area. And last but certainly not least, the cooperative innovative high school pathway. That particular one is for students who are planning to attend a small public high school located on the campus of an institute of higher education where students work toward completion of both the high school diploma and the associate's degree, transferable credit or career certificates. You want to find out more information about how this all works and maybe be able to sit down and kind of sift through it a little bit slower, let it marinate. Please see additional information regarding each pathway at the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction Career and College Promise website. Again, this is an awesome, awesome program, dual enrollment, and I want to emphasize one more time, tuition free. Now I am going to pass this wonderful baton over to my colleague, Miss Devin McCarthy James.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Devin McCarthy James, and I am the Western Region 828 West Region CFNC representative. So I am out here in the beautiful Asheville area, and I handle everything sort of from Buncombe County all the way out to the very tip, Cherokee County. So I'm really excited to be here to talk about community colleges. We have so many great things happening at our community colleges. But before we get too deep into all the specific programs, we wanted to make sure that you're starting to think about what are the careers that you want to end up in. It's really important to take that time to explore and do some soul searching. And we have a lot of tools to help you do that on cfnc.org. So we just wanted to highlight a couple of those. The first thing I would recommend doing is going on to cfnc.org. If you don't already have a free account, go ahead and create one because it's going to allow you to save a lot of the cool stuff that you can do on CFNC, and it can also allow you to apply to colleges once you've decided on the colleges to apply to. But once you've created that account, you can also go in and save the results of our career assessments. We have assessments where you can take these quizzes to figure out what careers might match up with your personality, with your interests, with your values, with your skills. And so starting with those can be really illuminating. Even if you already think you know what you want to do, sometimes these things will surprise you and they'll show something about yourself that you just never really thought about or it just never entered onto your radar. So I would recommend starting there. And then once you've got some careers that are suggested by those assessments, you can then explore those careers. What's really cool about our site is not only are you exploring the careers themselves, but you're also connecting to information about those careers in North Carolina. So that is really, really invaluable information, right? So it's going to give you information about things like how much education is required to get into this field. It's going to tell you what the average education is of people currently working in those careers in North Carolina. And it's also going to tell you the average income in North Carolina for those, right? We know that the income in California is going to be different from North Carolina. So you want to know this information. So this is super, super helpful when you're exploring and trying to make those decisions. And once you've looked at that and you've figured out some good candidates for future careers, then you can actually look at the programs and majors that can get you there, right? You want to know what degrees are going to get you there. And from there, you can even connect to colleges in North Carolina that offer those specific programs. So there's just sort of a really fun process and pathway you can follow in the CFNC Plan for Your Future section, where you can save those careers you're interested in, save those programs you're interested in, and then you can save those colleges that have those programs. So that can be a really fun process to kind of just explore and spend some time on there. The other thing that I would like you to look at is once you have once you have a list of some of these careers that you're thinking about, there's a couple of other really cool tools that I just wanted to highlight real quick. One is Know Before You Go, and that's going to tell you about which careers have good growth rates. Going to school for any kind of program is going to be investment, right? It's a financial investment. It's investment in your time and your energy. And you want to know that those careers are going to be there when you get out of that program, right? So looking to see how many jobs are going to be in North Carolina in that field is going to be really, really helpful. So that's one thing I want you to look at is know before you go. The next thing I think is really super helpful is looking at something called the reality check tool. And this is also a very cool tool because what it does is it compares your future expenses with your future potential career. Okay, so what you do is you actually select your area of the state. So it's even, I could select the Asheville area or I could select the Raleigh area. And it's going to give me selections of different expenses that people pay, for rent or a mortgage or, groceries, things like that. And you kind of go through the process of these are the average expenses of people in that area. And once you get to the end, you can kind of see how your potential lifestyle choices in that area compare with your potential career income. And so that can be also very useful information as you're making those career choices. So I don't want to take up too much of your time because I know we're here to hear about some more community colleges. So you're going to hear from a lot of really great community college representatives from a range of places all over the state, which is really exciting. And we're going to start it off with Mr. Garnes from Wake Tech.
Greetings, everybody. My name is Anthony Garnes, Recruitment and Outreach Officer for Wake Tech. I've been with Wake Tech since 2013, and I have a little bit over 15 years of post-secondary admissions/recruiting experience. In the chat, I did post a Wake Tech information packet, a little bit more in detail than what I'll be talking about today. But let's get started with some quick facts. Wake Tech is the largest community college in the state of North Carolina. We have a little over 70,000 students. Half of those students are in curriculum programs. So other programs that you're earning a diploma, certificate, or a 2-year degree in are actually accumulating college credit. We have another 39,000 students in workforce continuing education. Those type of classes tend to be non-credit seeking, non-degree programs, certificate or diploma programs. For example, one of our more popular programs the last couple of years is the real estate broker class. It's I believe it's an 11-week class, but it teaches you about the real estate industry. It's a state requirement if you are interested in being a real estate officer. And for my high school seniors that are tuned in, to be a real estate officer in North Carolina, you only have to be 18. Didn't know if you all knew that or not. But a lot of great opportunities for you all as far as the programs that we offer and as well as our workforce continuing education. Average classroom size at Wake Tech is 21. We have over 200 curriculum programs offered in our associate degree programs, which are our 2-year degree programs. Our diploma programs are usually roughly 12 months, and then our certificate programs are 6 to 8 months. The information packet that I provided in the chat does outline and list all of our programs as well as what credentials we offer for that particular program. Wake Tech associate degree graduates who transfer to a 4-year university tend to do better than native juniors at that UNC system school. Research has shown that students that start off at the community college level, they tend to do better once they do transfer to a 4-year university. Wake Tech serves 1 in 10 Wake County adults. So chances are for our folks tuned in today, you probably have a parent, a sibling, a friend, a relative that has attended Wake Tech in some form or fashion, either on our curriculum side or our workforce continuing education side. Next slide, please. I love showing this map because it outlines Wake County and it shows our campus locations. I also like showing this map because I like talking with students about transportation. Sometimes with a lot of our students, transportation is the issue. We actually have an agreement with Wake County with our Wake Go program. It allows our students who are currently attending Wake Tech to ride our public transportation for free. And the great thing about all of our campus locations, we have bus stops on all of our campuses. So you don't have to worry about getting off or being picked up from the bus and having to walk 1 or 2 miles to the campus locations. You'll be picked up and dropped off on all of our campus locations. Also about housing, we do not offer any housing, but we do have, usually about a mile or two for all of our campuses. We do have apartment complexes around most of our campuses within 1 or 2 mile walking distance. These are our current areas of study. We have our applied engineering technologies, arts and humanities and social sciences, business and public services technologies, information technologies, health sciences, mathematics, sciences, and engineering. Again, the information packet outlines all of our particular programs that we do have. Please note that university transfer is not on there, but we do offer university transfer programs. We actually have 4. Those are the Associates in Arts, the Associates in Science, the Associates in Engineering, and then the Associates in Fine Arts. Next slide, please. Thank you. So you heard a little bit about co-admissions earlier, and I want to point out 6 schools that we do have special admission programs with. These particular schools, we have special agreements with them, and you are guaranteed admissions into those schools, provided you meet the criteria. So we have NC State, ECU, UNC Charlotte, UNC Wilmington, UNC Chapel Hill, and then North Carolina A&T. Within the next couple months, we are adding 2 additional schools. More news to come shortly, but that list will grow again in the coming fall. But it's a great opportunity for you all, especially if you're interested in these particular schools. On the outside, it's like basically with our university transfer option, it extends it another level, because with our university transfer opportunities at Wake Tech, it doesn't guarantee you admissions, but with these specific individual agreements with these universities, we can guarantee admissions. But again, it's based on certain criteria. It's also based on the major you're trying to pursue at that receiving university. Next slide, please. So this is my contact information. I'm going to also post a link in here that has an appointment with me. I'm also setting up virtual appointments. I just posted that link that you see on the slide in the chat as well. If you're needing assistance, have questions about the university transfer options, not quite sure which university transfer option you're interested in, or any of our curriculum, certificate, 2-year degree programs, or diploma programs, you can set up an appointment with me. If for whatever reason you click on that link tonight or tomorrow and you don't see any available times, just keep checking. It does update every 24 hours. You'll be able to set up a virtual appointment with me. You'll note my email address on here as well as my office phone. And yes, I am back in the office. And maybe the pondering question for you all, are you all going to have on-campus classes coming in the fall? Our college had planned on moving to a more traditional and normal format for the fall semester, but it will be a mix. It'll be kind of a hybrid of both, but we are looking at offering at least 70 to 80% of our classes, offering those classes in person in the coming fall semester. But thank you all for your time. I look forward to hearing any questions you may have.
Thank you so much, Mr. Barnes. As you guys have questions, feel free to shoot them over in the chat box. And now we are going to hear from Miss Selbraid with Blue Ridge Community College.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I'm excited to be here and kind of talk about something different, something new that's been gaining a lot of traction in North Carolina right now. Just to give you some quick background, so I work for Blue Ridge Community College. We are a small institution over in Western North Carolina. We service Henderson County and Transylvania County, and we have campuses in both. I put in a link just to our regular kind of information page, but we have a variety of degrees, diplomas, and certificates, and different articulation programs. But tonight I'm here to talk to you guys about something that's really exciting, apprenticeships. So it is, like you mentioned, something that's been gaining a lot of traction again with folks. So apprenticeship is the idea of building on training. So students are getting that on-the-job experience and classroom education. And Blue Ridge has a really great program going. It's completely covering the cost for students, which I know is not the case in every county, so we are very lucky over here. But essentially, it's an earn while you learn program. So students, when they apply, they're actually applying to get a job, and then that job is promising to pay for their education here at Blue Ridge. So essentially, during the week, they go to work 4 days a week, and then they attend class 1 day a week on our campus. And even for that day that they're working, or they're here on campus taking classes, they're getting paid for that day. Then to for a next level, you know, they're paying that college tuition. So it's completely free to them. They're covering the cost of books. Anything that student needs to be successful is covered by our business partnerships. And students are working towards some sort of credential within the field. And we'll go into this in a few seconds, kind of how the apprenticeships break down at our community colleges. But really the process, students, you know, we're in the schools telling them about these options that are available to them, and they attend an open house. And this week, actually right now, students who are interested in the program are taking tours of the employers that they have an opportunity to work with. So they spend about 30 minutes at these employers, seeing the environment that they could be a part of, and really seeing people in that field doing the job that could be them. And then once they kind of see what's going on, they fill out an application, and then we start that interview process. I can talk about this, you know, all day, and I will keep talking, but one of the things I want to do, I feel like it's so much better to hear it from the students. So if it's okay, I would love to play the video.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yep, I'm gonna.
I really didn't know what I was going to do after high school.
The reason that I decided to do an apprenticeship was I didn't quite know what I wanted to do for college, and rather than just working at like a fast food place or something like that, I decided to actually pursue something.
I saw it as a good opportunity and a great career path.
It entails just working and doing hands-on learning.
Backside and 8. In our area, we don't have a lot of the skilled labor that we need.
High pressure injection die casting. It's a skill that's new to this area, so we figured if we developed it in-house in conjunction with Blue Ridge Community College, we would be able to create a more successful person.
I wanted to work in the automotive industry. It was since I was like 6 years old.
You can start with little to no experience, and through the program you grow. After the 2 years, you know your way well around a vehicle.
The apprenticeship allowed me to actually go to college and gain an education and get a certification.
I get free tuition, I get paid, and I only go to class 1 day a week.
I'm saving a bunch of money. I'm not going to be thousands of dollars in debt.
I have health insurance and free tuition.
Not only do we get paid for coming to work, we also get paid for the hours that we are in school as well. It motivates me to learn and to be in class.
And every semester your pay grade does go up, so by the end of it you're making quite a bit of money.
With the apprenticeship, it's more streamlined in the sense that you're able to have the courses catered to you based on your work schedules. You have your 4 days where you're working, and you have your 1 day where all your courses are super conveniently and efficiently packed into 1 day.
If you want to go ahead and put those in so we can lift these tires up.
So I have a mentor. He's helping me grow as a person and as a technician.
Basically everyone that works back there with me is a mentor in some sense of the word, because they'll stop me and help me.
So the mentor's responsibility is to kind of be those bumpers for the apprentices, and it's their responsibility to develop them and continue growing them into an exceptional technician.
We're wanting to give young people in the area opportunity to learn trade skills here at home so they can work here, earn their living, and while they're being trained for a long-term career.
What I've seen from the apprentices here, it's, I think, month 1, and they're walking around like they run the place.
At GF Linamar, we have been able to put them in positions that they want to be in, so they know that they can grow.
You get launched into a career that has opportunity for a lot of growth that can carry you well into retirement, honestly.
In 5 years, I see myself still working at Elcomet, hopefully working my way up through the ranks here and gaining a bunch of life experiences I couldn't get anywhere else.
There's a lot of room to grow here, so maybe as a personal banker.
I see myself in 10 years probably becoming a master tech.
I would like to maybe eventually be able to have my own shop.
This apprenticeship has allowed me to pursue living on my own and really taking a step into the real world.
Well, I'm currently 18, so doing this, it gives me a chance and opportunity to actually move out and be independent on my own.
It's a really solid launching off point for my career.
After I complete the certification, if I want to further my education in mechatronics, it allows me to do that.
It opens a lot of doors.
Good opportunities like this shows up once in a lifetime.
And I get to stay around here, live close,
just explore options, like looking at this.
You get free tuition, you get a good start to your career, and you get paid for going to class. So I mean, that's a win-win for everybody.
For more information, go to blueridge.edu/apprenticeships. Click on the Request Information box and leave us your contact information so we can make sure you're the first to know when the applications go live.
Thank you. Okay, so just kind of to just recap the video really fast. I think that this program, besides preparing them for the jobs that they're interested in, it's giving them a lot of life skills too. I mean, just during the application process, these students are learning, you know, how to do an interview. They had to put a resume together. They have to kind of market themselves to these different businesses. And so it is just overall a great experience for them to go through and kind of prepare them for those next steps. But to jump into kind of the programs that we offer and those partnerships that we've built. So we have 3 apprenticeship programs here at Blue Ridge. We have automotive, manufacturing, and business and banking. The first one I'll talk about is our automotive. So this is actually an opportunity that we run through our continuing education program. So students are still earning a credential. This is different at every community college. I feel like it's built really with those partner companies that we have. So it's going to be different depending on counties, but this, for us, it's a 2-year program that students are working through, and it's available just to our recent high school graduates, so they do have to be coming out of high school this year. But then if they get a position, they start at $12 an hour, and as they keep completing courses and getting that experience, they continue to get pay raises as well. So it lists a couple of the partner companies that we do have for automotive. And so these are the different places that students are applying to be a part of. It's a very intricate process. They go through applications, and it's almost like a sports drafting experience. They kind of match who's picked what company they want to work with. But yeah, so that's the automotive one. Students usually get through it in about 2 years. So automotive and banking or business and banking are the 2 newest ones. So that we'll be going into our 2nd year of offering these. So business and banking is a 1-year program. And this year we've actually added the business portion. So last year it was banking. We just had a banking partnerships, but students work through, and they're actually receiving a certificate in business at the end of this program. And those are curriculum classes. So students are earning college credit, and those are then stackable into more degrees. So if a student really likes that certificate, they can keep working towards something else once they're done. But this position, you know, again, you can see they start out at $13 an hour. By the time they're done in the year, they're making $15 an hour. And there's a lot of banks again on the list, but actually one of our manufacturing companies is looking to bring students in so that they can have experience in a different focus, you know, because those skills are transferable. But I think what's important about this apprenticeship is, again, they're getting a certificate for free, and that's going to be stackable with other options at the community college level. Let's talk, the last apprenticeship program that we offer is the one that we've offered the longest. So we've partnered with Made in Henderson County, which is our manufacturing group. And students in this program are earning a certificate in mechatronics that stacks into other credentials that they could get here at the college. And the 2 programs that offer the certificates are actually ones that work really well with our CCP students. So we can have students start getting experience before they even enter. So talk about stacking free stuff on top of free stuff. It's fantastic. Great way to save money. But with the apprenticeship with Made in Henderson County, they're learning a mechatronics program. So they're really learning how to troubleshoot with all the different manufacturers that work in the area. So yes, this is a great point. Apprenticeships are not always about those trade skills. That is our image behind it. You think about, you know, working in a trade and learning that experience, but it can be in different aspects. And so we've built really great partnerships in our community, and I think that is what has helped it grow, because they just see the value in helping those recent graduates that we have here in the community and helping them on to their next steps. But yeah, so apprenticeships is a fantastic option. We're really lucky in our county because we have so many great companies that want to invest in the kids that we have here. I mean, even the Made in Henderson County one is available to everyone. So students do not have to be recent graduates. But it's a great thing for students to save money. They're earning, getting paid, plus getting a free education. If anybody has any questions, feel free. I'll put my email address in the chat. I'm always happy to help. We are going through the process for apprenticeship applications right now. Due date is on the 23rd. So we'll start kind of matching students with those opportunities.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Albright. And I just want to encourage you all. I know we have folks in the mountains on this call, students, and we have folks across the state. Check with your local community colleges to see what apprenticeship programs they have. And then if your family has 529 money saved, this college savings money, keep in mind that most apprenticeship programs qualify now for your family to use for those programs. So talk to your financial aid office, and I think the information is so good, and we appreciate Ms. Albright from Blue Ridge offering that. So thank you so much. And so next up we have Jeremy Gibbons, and he works with Cape Fear Community College over where I am in Wilmington, so on the eastern part of the state, and I will pass it over to Mr. Gibbons. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. It's really nice to be with all of you, and thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedules to learn more about all of the many opportunities across the state within the community college system. A couple of things I kind of wanted to just share with you quickly is that, wherever you are in the state, the community college can really be your bridge to a career or a four-year university. And I think it's so important to focus on a couple of key things too, that some folks have anxiety about, will I get accepted to college, and that whole process. And one of the really neat things about the community colleges is most programs are open enrollment, which means you get accepted. So we take that kind of guessing game out of the admissions process, and I think that's so important. So a little bit about CFCC. We are located in Wilmington. We have 4 campus locations, plus online. We are the 6th largest community college in North Carolina, which means we serve over 22,000 students, and it's roughly 50% are in programs earning college credit, and roughly 50% are in programs leading directly to workforce and continuing education options, so short-term training or career opportunities and things of that nature. I think it's also really important to share that many colleges, including Cape Fear, have lots of online options as well. So like some of my colleagues, we are shifting back to a lot of in-person options in the fall, but you can actually earn one of our transfer degrees online from anywhere. So you don't have to be in Wilmington to earn our associate's degree. We have over 160 programs, in fact, and they range in so many different disciplines. And with an average class size of about 20 students, it's really important to know that your community college can offer you a personalized education that's affordable without sacrificing quality. And I really want to kind of zone in on that quality piece. It's so important. But we can go to the next slide. I'm sorry. Thank you. So some of our university transfer programs, and you've heard a little bit about this from some of my colleagues, so I won't spend a lot of time on this. But one of the things that I think is really important to think about is oftentimes students in high school are thinking about what will my major be? And particularly if you're considering a four-year institution, comparing it to a community college, you might be thinking about your major and saying, I want to major in psychology or business or whatever it might be. And then you go to apply to your community college and you're on their application, and we all have so many programs, and you're looking at the list and maybe you can't find your major. And so it's important to share with you that these university transfer programs like Associate in Arts or Associate in Science are really umbrella programs in terms that can lead to all of those majors at the four-year institutions. And so at Cape Fear, we have many agreements with colleges and universities across the state and beyond, some of which can guarantee admission based on a variety of factors, others that have very strong partnerships and programs, including our neighbors, UNCW. We have a CPATH program, which means you can actually, if you qualify, start taking some classes at UNCW while you're a CFCC student. We even have UNCW advisors that are based on our campus, so you can actually learn from them directly while you're our student. They're there almost weekly to recruit our students and help them navigate that transfer process. We can go to the next slide. So within health sciences across the state, all of the community colleges are training and helping grow the next generation of leaders within healthcare and the healthcare industry. These programs are very competitive, but they're rigorous and they're very rewarding. And so I encourage you to look at your local community college and look at all the different options within the healthcare world. We can go to the next slide. So our career and technical programs, and a lot of folks have talked about the partnerships and things of that nature. One thing I want to share that many career and technical programs also offer is that they partner often within the industry, within their region, and have what we call advisory boards. And those advisory boards are made up of folks within the field, making sure that the program at the community college is always relevant and up to date for the student experience and for the students' opportunities to get jobs. So that really connecting to the community is key. An example of a program in our economic and workforce development area, which doesn't earn college credit, but is a specific program that leads to a specific occupation, is our electrical line worker program. It's extremely popular, and we have folks in that program from really sometimes across the country, but certainly across the state. We can go to the next slide. Thank you. Something I'm going to focus on this evening is kind of student life at community colleges. And so there's a myth that community college is a commuter college, meaning that you might live at home, or maybe you rent an apartment with some friends or other college students, and you go to class and you go home. And certainly if that's the experience that a student's looking for, that's okay. Students have many different responsibilities, including work and families. But on a community college campus, just like four-year institutions, you can get actively involved, and there's so many opportunities. And those same opportunities come at the same value of the community college tuition and fees. And so things like athletics and student clubs, organizations, internships, even things like study abroad, honors programs for specific students and opportunities, theater and performing arts. An example at CFCC is that we're home to the Wilson Center, which is an extremely amazing performing arts center with Broadway shows and opportunities. And our students actually have the opportunity to get involved with the Wilson Center, whether they want to work in lighting or front of the house or back of the house. And those are just some of the examples. So as you look across the state, you can find really unique and niche programs at your community colleges, just like your four-year schools. Other things that students can kind of have access to for getting involved and making sure that they're taking advantage of those opportunities are things like academic advisors who can help them think about majors and career planning, and career counselors who can help them think about career decision making and short-term and long-term goals, success coaches, and all of these opportunities and advantage can kind of be put under that experience. So it's not, again, it's not just going to class. Athletics. So many students start at a community college in athletics and end up transferring to a four-year institution and actually get recruited to transfer. And there's so many opportunities there. For example, at Cape Fear, we have 6 athletic programs, but you'll find many different opportunities across the state. We can go to the next slide. Thank you. And these are just a few examples of the student clubs at Cape Fear. We have over 40 student clubs and organizations, and they range from a variety of opportunities like the Student Engineers Association, which is very focused on students who want to be engineers. It's open to all students, though. So many of these are major or career-based, but some are also based on things like our Student Government Association, or we have a club focused on baking and pastry, and they actually just help with community events and outreach, and even our food pantry, helping our local community. We can go to the next slide. Thanks. So there's some contact information here, and I can put my contact information in the chat box as well, but kind of 2 things I just want to leave you with briefly. One is, I think it's really important, and I think we're going to be talking about this in a few slides, but if you're thinking about a 2-year degree at the community college and to transfer, one of the things that's unique is that you can earn your whole degree probably in just over about $5,000 in tuition and fees. And so when our colleagues get into how to pay for the cost of a community college education, you can just think about again, same value, but the cost is much less. And so I think that's so important. And again, if you want to focus on getting right into your career, it can potentially be even less if you're looking at a certificate, for example. So thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much. All that information is so important, and I do encourage students to take a look at what your community colleges have to offer. If you haven't been to one of your community college events before, I encourage you to do that. I failed to introduce myself at the beginning of this presentation, but I'm April Query. I work with the College Foundation, and I live in Wilmington. And just for an example, I've been able to go to lots of fun events that Cape Fear has had before, basketball games. You'll find that a lot of your culinary arts programs at your community colleges are doing fun things. You may find a wait list, perhaps, to even dine in with the culinary arts programs. Your community colleges have early childhood education programs, and a lot of those campuses have early childhood education centers, for example, where the students are able to work hands-on with the students and do lots of different programs and activities with them. And the hands-on opportunities are just really wonderful. So we've given you a lot of information this evening about the community colleges programs and apprenticeships and transferring and all of that. And what we would like to do now is pass this over to Miss Katrina Lee with Wayne Community College. And she's going to provide you with a little bit of information on scholarships and financial aid. And again, we encourage you to send any questions you might have over through the chat box. And we thank you, Jeremy with Cape Fear, and we welcome Miss Lee with Wayne Community College now.
Hello, and thank you everybody for joining us this evening. I'm really excited to be here presenting tonight. This is actually my first presentation for community colleges because I am new to community colleges. I just joined Wayne Community from the University of Mount Olive. But the financial aid is actually the same regardless of which way you're going. So if you can attend a community college and receive the same amount of a Pell Grant as you would at a four-year college, you're going to save a lot of money. Most of your four-year colleges, your Pell Grant is not going to cover your tuition and fees. And if you're staying on campus, room and board, you're going to incur some loan debt when you get into that part of it. Okay, so when you start thinking about going to college, one of the first things you need to do is you need to complete your FAFSA, and that's the free application for federal student aid. Okay, the website to do that is FAFSA.gov, and before you go to do that, you'll need to have an FSA ID. And if you are a dependent student, one of your parents will need to have an FSA ID as well. You can get the FSA ID on fsaid.ed.gov, and both of those websites are on the slide, so you'll have that information. The FAFSA is much easier than it used to be. When I first started in the financial aid industry, it would take 20 or 30 minutes for someone who knew what they were doing to do the FAFSA. Now, if you know what you're doing, it'll take about 5 minutes. College Foundation has teamed up with a couple of other organizations, and they are having some FAFSA events across the state this month. So find out where you might be able to go and get some help. They're having some drive-through events. I know several community colleges across the state are participating in that. And you could also contact your local community college and see if they are offering any assistance, because a lot of them are doing stuff other than just the drive-through event. I know here at Wayne, in May, we're going to have a drive-through walk-up event. So people will be able to do whichever they're comfortable with. They can drive up and we'll help them in their vehicles, or they can walk in and we'll help them in our offices. So we'll be providing services either way. And the FAFSA application is going to determine your eligibility for a federal Pell Grant, the North Carolina Education Lottery Scholarship, and the North Carolina Community College Grant. All of them are based on the expected family contribution. When you fill out the FAFSA, it takes all of your information and it determines what, according to the Department of Ed, you should be willing to pay, or not willing, but able to pay for your college. And if your EFC is within range, you'll get a federal Pell Grant or the Education Lottery Scholarship or the Community College Grant. It's on a sliding scale. Okay, so if you have the lower your EFC, the higher your federal Pell Grant. The federal Pell Grant you can get if you are less than half-time. You can get it if you're half-time, three-quarter time, full-time. So regardless of the number of hours you're taking in a credit-based program, you do have to be in a credit-based program. So You either need to be in a degree program, a certificate program that is long enough, or a diploma program. The North Carolina Community College grant, if you're taking 15 hours, you'll get a bump in the amount of that you'll get. So there's different amounts for 15 credit hours, and then one for 12 hours, one for 9 hours, one for 6 hours. Both of that and the Education Lottery Scholarship are not available if you're only attending half-time. You can go to the next slide. Okay, so in addition to those other things that a lot of people, some people may not qualify for it, but I encourage you to do the FAFSA anyway, because a lot of people don't think they would qualify, and when they do the FAFSA, they realize they do. But if you don't qualify, there are institutional funds available as well. Most of the community colleges have a foundation, and they raise money for scholarships that they can award students. So make sure that you inquire about that as well. A lot of them have honors programs where you can get some an honors scholarship as well. Convenient payment plans. So having just come from another institution, and the payment plans are available almost everywhere you go, but it's really hard if your balance, for the semester is $4,000, and that's after your aid has paid. And then you have to make a payment plan for that. So over the course of 5 months, you have to pay $4,000. That's not convenient, and that's not easy, and it doesn't really matter what your financial status is. That's going to be a strain on you. At the community college, with it being $76 a credit hour, and the fees are a lot lower to what I'm used to as well. So our fees generally run about $50 a semester here at Wayne Community, and some programs will be a little more. And so your payment plan can be really reasonable, and it's very convenient. When you sign up for it, the money is drafted from your bank account and sent to the college's payment bank account, and the payment is credited to your student account. Okay, and I know that everybody has talked about it, but I mean, I feel like, having come from somewhere where the tuition was $20,597 for this current academic year, and seeing how inexpensive the community college is to get a quality education, it's a fraction of the cost, and it's really, really a good investment for you to spend a couple of years at your community college and then go to your 4-year. It can make it a lot easier for your parents to save that money for 2 more years, so that instead of having to set up a $4,000 payment plan, you can go ahead and have the funds available to cover that. I appreciate y'all listening to me today.
All of our presenters. We want to remind you, of course, to connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. We got some really great information from all of our presenters. They did a great representation of the state of North Carolina's 58 community colleges. I learned some things tonight, and I know you did as well. I hope you've had a chance to put your information in the chat. If not, feel free to do so at this time. Or if you want to be brave and ask your question verbally, we'll be more than glad to entertain those questions for you at this time. Again, we want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule on this Thursday evening to come and learn more information about how you're going to be able to reduce some of the costs at the North Carolina community colleges across the state of North Carolina, which I think are very, very, very affordable, and they have a lot to offer students with the programs. We learned a lot about apprenticeships, and we learned about all of the different types of satellite campuses that are available and the programs that are being offered at the various colleges and universities. I want to, while I'm waiting for some questions to be placed into the chat box, I want to go ahead and thank Miss Sierra Selbrae from Blue Ridge Community College for being one of our guests tonight, Mr. Anthony Garnes from Wake Technical Community College, Mr. Jeremy Gibbons from Cape Fear Community College, and last but certainly not least, Miss Katrina Lee from Wayne Community College. Bravo, bravo, bravo. Thank you so very, very, very much. I know they did a great job. You're probably saying, well, they answered all my questions, but again, if there's anything you feel like you want to ask tonight, because it can be a little bit intimidating. I know there was a question that came up about the College and Career Promise Program. Someone had their daughter enrolled in that program, and they wanted to know whether or not a four-year college or university would require them to still take the SAT and ACT. And my response to them was, that would depend upon the college or university they'd be transferring to, but if they wanted to be considered for merit-based aid, we definitely recommend they go ahead and take the SAT or the ACT. I don't know if one of you may want to elaborate a little bit more on that, but that was a answer that I felt as though was generic. Let me say that, for lack of a better word.
I'll add to that. Generally speaking about the CCP enrollment process, you're typically treated as a university transfer student. So if you're in your senior high school, get ready, you've accumulated some college courses through the CCP program, received a C or better in those courses. May I remind you, so they're treated just like regular university transfer. So if you were just a regular community college student and you were transferring to a four-year university, those credits are treated the same in the CCP program. I know we call them, some folks call them CCP classes, but generally speaking, they're regular traditional community college courses. So they'll be treated just like regular college credit hours as long as you receive a C or better in those classes. So typically, yes, depending on that school, you will still have to adhere to that receiving universities, college universities admission standards. That does include, based on the college university, again, submitting ACT, SAT scores, and so forth. But do note that a lot of the community colleges that participated today, we talk about co-admissions and guaranteed and special admission programs that allow you a little bit of relief when knowing, having to wait for that admissions call or that admissions letter, seeing if you got accepted. All of our community colleges here have special partnerships with all of the 17 four-year college and universities in the state of North Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Garnes. Thank you.
And I was wondering if we could address one question, and then we had a question in the chat box also. But I'm wondering, it's a two-part question, and one of it is for Miss Lee to answer at Wayne, and then for one of our admissions folks. For folks that have juniors, or the folks that are juniors that are on right now, when should they be doing the admissions process and doing the financial aid process? And then also the same if we have seniors on right now. So maybe Ms. Lee could start first and talk about when juniors should do it, when seniors should do it, financial aid.
Absolutely, and I apologize. I should have covered that when I was talking. During the senior year for your student, that's when you're going to apply for financial aid. And the FAFSA becomes available in October. So anytime after October, you would go ahead and you fill that FAFSA out using the tax information from the prior year. So for 2021, you would use the 2019 FAFSA or taxes to complete the FAFSA. And both the web application for the FAFSA and the mobile application that you can put on your phone will allow you to do the IRS data retrieval. Use that tool to bring that information in, so you don't even have to worry about inputting all of that information. It's one of the things that has made it so much easier. But yes, so and then you're going to do that every year that if your student's going to be in school in the fall, then the previous October, that fall, go ahead and get that FAFSA completed.
This is Jeremy. I don't mind chiming in about when students should apply to the community college. During the senior year, it's going to depend on the school. But for example, at Cape Fear, we usually open up our application for seniors to apply for the following fall in August, and it remains open all the way until the following August when classes begin. And so it can vary by school, so just keep that in mind. I also am going to go backwards just a little bit and add a small note to the question about if you were a college promise student and your question about how you should apply or should you take SAT, ACT. Certainly explore your individual schools you're considering. Some schools will treat you at the four-year level as a first-year student because you earned credit before you graduated from high school. Others may treat you as a transfer student, and so those admissions processes may look different. And again, of course, as my colleague mentioned, some schools may have specific agreements to help you bypass some of those requirements as well. But doing your homework ahead of time can certainly be helpful.
Thank you all so much. Was there any last comments that any of you all want to make? Any burning comment that you thought about after you gave your presentation that you still want to elaborate a little bit more on? Feel free to do so at this time.
Forgot to mention, all 58 community college admission applications are free. So I know that's some of the things you might have been wondering, but we don't have application deadlines. Obviously, we want you to complete your application as soon as possible. No, we don't recommend you completing your admissions application 2-3 weeks before the semester starts. As Mr. Gibbons stated, you have plenty of time as high school seniors well in advance to do those admissions applications, and they're free. So and pretty easy to do. Obviously, this is a CFNC event. You all can go on CFNC, complete those community college applications, and submit your high school transcript electronically as well.
We're going to take you with us, Mr. Garnes. Thank you so very much. Absolutely, absolutely. Any other last comments? We don't want to cut anyone off. We want you to be able to sleep real easy tonight. Say, I forgot I wanted to say. Any last comment you want to make tonight? Well, again, we would like to thank everyone for logging on. We thank our guests for sharing the platform with us tonight, providing information. And if all hearts and minds are clear, we're going to say good night and have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you.